We have some major breaking news. It has been announced that Red Bull will sponsor Shane Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2026. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, it's some pretty massive major breaking news, as it has been confirmed that Red Bull will be back with Trackhouse Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2026. They will sponsor both Shane Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch in the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. Here's a statement from Trackhouse Racing, debuting two new Red Bull schemes for 2026. They have just also posted a couple minutes ago a primary partner for 25 NASCAR Cup Series races in 2026. The first time you will see the Red Bull colors on Connor Zilisch's car in 2026, which of course he'll drive the number 88 car in 2026, will be at Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 500. Meanwhile, for Shane Gisbergen, the first time you will see the Red Bull scheme on the car is at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, the rest schedule was not announced earlier today, but this is a really big deal for Red Bull. I believe last year in the NASCAR Cup Series, I think they sponsored Shane Gisbergen for around 6 or 7 races in the Cup Series in 2025. He scored his first oval top 10 finish in the Red Bull colors at Kansas Speedway in 2025, and also, of course, picked up a win with them, I think, at Sonoma Raceway, and nearly won a couple other races in that car in 2025. On top of that, he did pick up a win in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series with that sponsorship as well. Remember, they had the inverted colors of the Red Bull and WeatherTech cars at the Chicago Street Course for Connor Zilisch and Shane Gisbergen. They basically sponsored and Shane went to victory at Chicago. And Connor Zilisch nearly picked up wins in the Red Bull colors as well. He also drove the Red Bull car in 2 races in 2025, that being Atlanta Motor Speedway, and also ran, of course, the Coke 600. He was supposed to run Watkins Glen, but we all remember he unfortunately got injured after winning the O'Reilly Auto Parts race at Watkins Glen. This is up from the 2025 season on the number of races. Obviously, 25 races is a really big deal. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to distribute the schedule. My best guess is they're going to split the amount of races. Maybe you'll see Connor Zilisch get 13 races in 2026, or maybe he'll get like 18 or 19 or something like that. Well, Shane Gisbergen probably is going to have less races with the Red Bull car. The reason I think that is because Shane Gisbergen, I believe, is expected to have a bunch of other sponsors working with him. He's probably going to have safety culture on the car. We already know the WeatherTech is going to be working with him in 2026 as well. We also know, of course, Kubota is probably going to sponsor race 2 more than likely in 2026. And there's probably some other sponsors that he's probably going to have, like Wendy's throughout the year. I'm not sure if Wendy's will be working with Connor Zilisch in 2026. But it's so exciting to see that Red Bull will be on the car for the Daytona 500. It's going to be the first time the Red Bull has sponsored a car for the Daytona 500 on the Cup side since Red Bull was in the Cup Series back in 2011 when Brian Vickers drove the car and Casey Kane drove the 4 car back in 2011. So it's the first time we've seen that in the Daytona 500 in 15 years. Both drivers, of course, are having really high expected seasons going into 2026. But before we kind of talk about what my expectations are for both Trackhouse drivers going into next year, let's talk about these schemes. I gotta say, Trackhouse Racing absolutely knocked these schemes out of the park. They look phenomenal. You got a different look to the 88 car than the one they had the prior year. But I like that they're differentiating the look of both of the cars. For Shane Gisbergen, you got the classic number 97 look with the classic Red Bull look. And then you have Connor Zilisch, who has a different look on the Red Bull car going into 2026. And I gotta say, it does look really good, and I think they did a fantastic job on the Red Bull paint scheme there for both cars. Trackhouse Racing, I've talked about in the past, when it comes to their designs of paint schemes, whether it's been for Ross Chastain over the years, whether it's been for Shane Gisbergen, Daniel Suarez, or Connor Zilisch, it really doesn't matter. I think generally designs from Trackhouse Racing have been phenomenal, and that gives a shout out to Kyle Sykes as well, because Kyle Sykes is a fantastic guy when it comes to designing paint schemes, and I think he did a phenomenal and incredible job on these cars. And I think both these cars are going to look really good, and wouldn't surprise me or shock me if these are schemes of the year in 2026, but I would also be surprised if some of the other Trackhouse signs that are probably going to be announced in the near future, wouldn't be surprised if you see some really good cars there. Now, will we see these cars at some of the different types of tracks? What races will we see them? I would expect you're probably going to see him at some of the big races in 2026. I would not be shocked if you see SVG or Connor have it at San Diego later this year, considering that's an inaugural event. I think Red Bull's going to want to do some of the big marquee events. So maybe another super speedway down the road, like maybe outside of Atlanta, as we know they're going to be on SVG's car at Atlanta. Maybe we see them for the Brickyard 400 perhaps. Maybe we see them for the Southern 500 in 2026. Maybe we see them for the championship race at Homestead. Maybe we see them at other tracks like Chicagoland with the return of Chicagoland on the schedule. I could see some of those big marquee events being potential landing spots for that sponsorship in 2026, but they're probably not going to reveal the official schedule until some point in the near future. I just think, again, both these schemes look phenomenal, incredible. Now, looking at 2026, this upcoming season for both Connor and SVG, they're two of the highly anticipated drivers going into 2026. You think about Shane Van Gisbergen in 2025. It was an up and down year for Shane Van Gisbergen. On one hand, Shane Van Gisbergen had an amazing year on the road courses, picked up 5 straight wins on the road course in 2025, but it was an up and down year on the ovals. But what we saw throughout 2025 was a massive progression on the ovals. We saw a ton of improvement throughout the year to the point where at the end of the season, he had top 5 and top 10 speed at a lot of oval tracks like New Hampshire, where unfortunately got caught up in a crash thanks to Brad Keselowski making kind of a bonehead move at New Hampshire, which is surprising for Brad Keselowski. He made a bonehead move and basically ran into SVG after having a potential top 5 car and top 10 car there. Then you think about Vegas. He had a top 5, top 10 car most of the day, and then unfortunately got taken out in a crash started by Ty Gibbs and a couple other drivers. And then you think about Talladega, just finished outside of the top 10. I think Shane Van Gisbergen going into this upcoming season, he is going to be really strong on the road courses, but I think that improvement is going to come on the ovals as well, especially with Todd Meredith moving to one of the more higher-up engineering side of things for the team, one of the higher-ups of the program going into next year. I think this team is going to show improvement, and I think SVG will score multiple top 10s at ovals next year. And I think that he'll be a major factor in the 2026 year. Maybe he gets an oval win before the end of the year. Who knows at this point? Moving on to the highly anticipated rookie Connor Zilisch. Connor Zilisch is one of the best prospects we have seen over the course of the last quarter century. Probably the best prospect we've seen since either Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, or maybe even Joey Logano or Jeff Gordon. Maybe even at the same level as Jeff Gordon, because I think Connor Zilisch is that talented and that capable. And I think Connor Zilisch is going to surprise a lot of people in a really big way in 2026. I do think at the beginning of the year, he is going to struggle a little bit to get adjusted to the next-gen car, but he adapts to these cars really quickly. Look at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in 25. He only won one race in the first 13 to 14 races. He comes back from his injury and is starting to have top 5s. He had 18 consecutive top 5 finishes, and I think we all agree that he should have won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Championship in 2025. He had the best car without question in that event and throughout the season, and should have won the championship without question, but had 10 wins in 2025. I think by the end of the year, Connor Zilisch is going to score a win or two. He may get multiple wins for the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised or shocked, because I think Connor Zilisch is that talented. Plus, he's got a really solid crew chief, Randall Burnett, going into next year. And he's going to have pressure to try to perform on the same level as SVG did on the road courses in that same 88 car. And I think that Zilisch is going to be really strong this upcoming season. I think by the end of the year, he'll be a major factor to win races. Again, we don't know what the format is going to be for the championship. We still don't know about that at this point. Things could change with the lawsuit going on with 2011 in front row. But I think this is a really exciting story and pretty awesome to see that Red Bull will sponsor Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen in the Cup Series in 2026. Good to see both of them getting that sponsorship for the upcoming season. So, that's your today's special breaking news report on Red Bull sponsoring Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen in 2026. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Notifications on so notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me through Facebook and Instagram and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go to below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. How do you think these guys are going to do in 2026 in the Cup Series? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How many wins do you think these guys will get combined? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And how excited are you to see that Red Bull is upping their sponsorship to 25 races this upcoming year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. We got a lot of updates on the 2011 Farmer Motorsports lawsuit. We got more lawsuits potentially coming with Richard Childress threatening legal action against NASCAR after some of the comments surfaced from the text messages. Talk about the Formula One race from the Vegas GP. Talk about disqualifications for Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris as well. On Thursday, we're going to have the Thanksgiving Q&A dropping. Then Friday, I'm either going to have a team preview dropping on the channel, or I may have something special dropping on the channel about 10 drivers on the hot seat or something like that as well. And then on Sunday of this upcoming week, we are going to be doing the Daytona 500 Interest early look at that. And then, of course, on Monday, we'll begin the coverage for the lawsuit. We got content coming on people like Haley Dean and Shane Van Gisbergen, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bo Wallace, Ross Chastain, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Frankie Muniz, Cletus Afron, Dodge Ram, Trackhouse, Ross Chastain, Junior Motorsports, Daniel Suarez, Corey LaJoie, Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, Will Brown, Brad Feeney, Cam Waters, other stuff like Elliot Castroneves, Daytona 500, all the good stuff we'll talk about on the channel in the coming days and the coming weeks as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. I'll see you guys next time for more great awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.